This is Patrick Christie tonight on GB News. Coming up, I speak to a Portland resident about the luxury bus and other unbelievable taxpayer-funded perks afforded to the Bibby Stockholm migrants as the rest of the locals suffer through a cost of living crisis. But it is time now for the Royal Dispatch. And as the Princess of Wales continues her treatment for cancer, an ultimatum has reportedly come down the pipeline from the ever-caring Sussexes. Now, royal author Tom Quinn has revealed that William and Kate are apparently making efforts to mend the rift and they're keen for a reconciliation. But Meghan is refusing to bury the hatchet unless they do two things. Speaking to the Mirror, Mr Quinn said Harry would like a reconciliation but supports his wife completely, and until she feels that the royal family have sufficiently apologised, it's not going to happen. Right, well, I'm joined now by the editor-at-large of the Mail on Sunday, Charlotte Griffith. Charlotte, thank you very, very much. Is Meghan really getting in the way, do you think, of a reconciliation between Harry and William?
I think she is pushing for an apology, and I think that's been going on for quite a long time, although there have been reports from the Sussex camp that she's sort of given up on the apology. But I don't think she's actually blocking him from seeing his family and reconciling with his family. We know that, obviously, he came over to see his dad when his dad was diagnosed with cancer, and he's coming over again in May. Although I have to say she's not coming with him. He's coming over to St Paul's for an Invictus Games event. And it's kind of surprising she's not coming with him. It feels like a withdrawal of support, but I think maybe she's just protecting herself because she knows she's not very popular in this country. I think Tom might be pushing the boundaries to say that she's preventing an olive branch, to be honest.
I mean, I'm not really sure that William wants an olive branch, does he?
No, I mean, certainly that is true. The idea that William is looking for a reconciliation is for the birds. I mean, this is a guy with a lot of bigger things on his plate. I mean, he's got two very sick relatives, one of whom is his wife. He's planning to be the future king, you know, who knows how long that could be. I have to say, Charles is responding really well to cancer treatment. But that must be at the forefront of his mind. He could be the king the next few years. And the idea that he's going to get bogged down by more psychodrama from his brother, from Montecito, from Meghan, apologies. I mean, he's moved past all of that. He's actually past the angry stage, I'm hearing. He's just in the can't be bothered with those guys stage.
Yeah, no, indeed. I know a lot of people feel that way, certainly. You did say a little line there, which is that you think the king is responding well to cancer treatment. Yeah,
no, I am hearing that he's actually responding genuinely really well to cancer treatment, and everyone in the royal household is feeling really positive and upbeat about how he's responding, yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Well, that is great to know, now, obviously, they're also going to be releasing a new two-part Netflix series that I think is a make-or-break moment in their careers after they announced those two new shows. The first series will be curated by Meghan, apparently the first episode, and celebrate the joys of cooking, gardening, entertaining and friendship, while the second episode focuses on the rarefied world of polo, a sport loved by Harry. I mean, does this have mass appeal?
Well, let's face it, polo does not have mass appeal. So to play polo, you have to have 4 polo ponies, not 1, 4. So how many people in the world can own 4 polo ponies and a groom? And, you know, it's the sport of kings. So it's a pretty niche market. We've got to face that. And the most interesting thing about polo is all the drama that goes on behind the scenes. Everyone gets drunk. You know, we know from Jilly Cooper that their polo players are... They play away. They're rampant. That's a good way of putting it. But let's face it, that's not going to be in Harry's programme, because he's going to do the sort of very polished, you know, very earnest face of polo, if such a thing exists. And meanwhile, the gardening show, I mean, it just feels a bit granny-ish for me. You know, it's gardening and friendship, and it's quite tame fare. And the idea that they're not trading on their royal connections for this is also for the birds, because although they're not directly slagging off the royal family like they were in their last Netflix show, you know, who would possibly tune into a programme about Meghan Markle cooking if it wasn't for the fact she'd married into the royal family? And I've actually seen there's something circulating online. There's her last cookery show was her cooking toast. She cooked toast.
She cooked toast.
About 5 years ago, she revealed her recipe for toast, which has got ricotta on it and her granny's favourite jam.
Right.
I watched that, and it was a little bit like watching paint dry, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
So she hasn't got great form for cookery shows so far.
I mean, I think her and Brooklyn Beckham should probably be locked in a room together and just made to create even more.
I was going to say, I think it's going to be the next Brooklyn Beckham. I think it's going to be really cringe, you know. She's not a passionate cook. I know she's fond of cooking and it's a hobby, but she's not known to be a passionate cook.
Yeah, indeed. And I mean, look, Meghan's brand, when it comes to cooking and it comes to gardening and stuff, Is that really what moves the dial, or is this an attempt to try to soften her, to show her as being something other than maybe the kind of person who, frankly, was very offensive about the royal family? You know, the curtsy to the Queen moment, we played that a bit earlier on in the show. Quite disrespectful.
I think you're so right. I think she's definitely trying to soften herself down. I personally am not convinced when I do see clips of Meghan doing that kind of cookery act. Do you remember when she wrote the words on the bananas a few years ago? Yeah. And there have been times she came over to the UK and she did a cookery book for Grenfell, which was a really good cause. But I personally just didn't buy into it. I didn't buy into this soft and gentle Meghan. We know she's hard as nails and she's ambitious and she's ruthless. And, you know, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but she isn't softly gentle Meghan, I don't think.
No, not at all. But we've spoken a bit there about whether or not there's going to be a reconciliation with the royal family. We've spoken about these 2 new Netflix series which are going to be coming out at some point in the future. But there's actually a move, genuinely it appears, towards politics now as well with these two. So the Sussexes are preparing to wade into US politics ahead of the monumental election this year. That's because the pair's Archwell Foundation have launched a campaign to fight against misinformation during the election. So according to reports, the couple are working to prepare US voters for a possible deep fake onslaught. All right, Charlotte, I mean, how are they going to do this? What actually is their plan?
There's a sort of consortium of bipartisan campaigners who have got together and they're going to help stop the spread of disinformation, including deepfakes. We don't really know how they're going to do that yet. But we know that in the past, how Meghan tackles disinformation is she has a good old grumble about it. So while she worked for Spotify, who we now know have dumped her, she moaned about Spotify while she was actually working for them and getting paid a huge fortune. So she was biting the hand that fed her. But she moaned that they were spreading disinformation about COVID jabs at the time. So that's probably what she'll do. She'll just release a few moany public statements like she did last time. As far as I can tell, she hasn't really released any other details other than she's going to complain.
But that's the theme, isn't it, really? Saying a lot of stuff without saying a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think this is paving the way for her own political career, potentially, or not?
Do you know, I think gone are the days. There was a moment where she hired Michelle Obama's PR woman and spent $90,000 via Archwell to pay for her. And we did think at the time, God, maybe she actually is going to run for president. But now I just feel like that moment's passed. You know, now she's making cookery shows and shows about gardening. Everything just seems so much more toned down about Meghan now. Like the moment, maybe, dare I say it, has passed for Meghan Markle. I can't see her getting that involved in politics anymore.
No. All right. Well, look, Charlotte, thank you very, very much. It's been fantastic to get you on and cover such a wide range of topics there as well. Charlotte Griffiths, the editor-at-large at The Mail on Sunday. Now,